Hey, hi, hello everyone. My name is Mikey and I'm the creator of Waves. There's a few reasons that I wanted to make this video. One, I need to learn how to make videos, and two, I wanted to document my process and kind of keep myself accountable for actually continuing to make waves. So I figured that making this video talking about the pre-production process would be a really good and smart way to do that. And it would also give insight to those of you who want to start your own object show, from the perspective of someone who is starting. So yeah, with that, I'll just jump right into it. So naturally, I think I should start from the beginning, which would take place in September of 2022. I had just finished watching all of the BFDI series. Those were the only object show videos that I had been aware of. At that time, I wrote the entire premise for Waves with only the knowledge of BFDI. A little bit after finishing that premise, I actually watched An Anime Insanity Season 1. Let's just say I did not like An Anime Insanity Season 1 at the time. In retrospect, I love An Anime Insanity Season 1. I think it's hilarious. But at the time, I couldn't stand it. I could not make myself watch An Anime Insanity Season 2 or 3. But now, it's my favorite object show. So, character progression. With that being said, I really only had the perspective of one show, and I think that was a very big detriment to my show. I had made the voting system overly complicated. I had split the cast of 18 characters, which is so many if you've never written a show like this before, into 6 teams of 3 for some ungodly reason. I don't remember why. And generally speaking, a lot of the characters were kind of filler. It just wasn't good. And I think when I got back into the object show community in March, I think having the perspective of watching more than just BFDI really helped with writing my own show. I had finished An Anime Insanity. I watched HFJ1, I watched Paper Puppets Take 2, I watched Excellent Entities, and all of these shows really did help with the rewrite. It helped so much having all of these different inspirations, taking what I liked and what I knew would work, and leaving behind what wasn't as good. Really elevated not only my writing, but in general, the story of Waves. I like to think that that is the start of my process. Watching other shows, getting inspiration, knowing what I want to take and what I want to leave. And that's where I recommend a lot of people start. A lot of people just want to hop in as soon as they watch one thing, and that's great and all, but I think getting a broader perspective of what works, what doesn't, that's also really important. I also don't recommend that you just watch object shows unless you've been very well versed in other competition shows. I think shows like Survivor or obviously Total Drama Island is kind of the inspiration for for Dream Island, so that's also a really good place to start. But I think any reality competition show, that is such a good resource to kind of draw from. In fact, Waves is very based off of the reality competition show Big Brother. That's kind of something I grew up watching with my mom. A lot of the aesthetics are drawn from Big Brother, and generally the setting is very Big Brother-esque, and it's something I'm very excited to explore as I continue to develop Waves. Once I knew what I was drawing inspiration from, the next step I took was drawing the entire cast, designing them, drawing a lineup, and I think it's very important. for me to do that for myself. You could honestly put that off a little bit later, but for me, I have aphantasia, which, if you don't know what that means, it means I cannot visualize anything. If you ask me to picture an apple in my mind and rotate it, I wouldn't be able to. I could describe an apple for you, but that's more relying on memory and knowing and observing life around me, and having something that I could actually look at, and having these characters drawn out for myself. It helped me not only visualize them as people or as objects, it also helped me visualize them as characters. I'll go ahead and put the lineup on screen for you guys. If you haven't seen it before, here it is. But having this and drawing the characters with their personalities really helped me get a hold of them in such an enriching way that usually I just don't have. So that was the first step of that process. The second step was kind of rewriting the synopsis. There used to be 20 characters in Waves, and I can guarantee you a lot of them were not good. They were not thought through, they were not well written, they didn't even really have personalities, most of them, and it just came from the excitement of it all. I just wanted to write something, and having the opportunity to go back and look at that and be like, that's a little bit much, and cutting it down really helped, I think. Now there are 14 characters, 12 contestants, and the 2 hosts. And I think not only are the individual characters themselves, but the dynamics are so much better this time around. And I get to flesh them out more because I don't have so many characters bloating the cast. I think another thing that I fixed that had to do with how many characters I had was the teams. There were 6 teams of 3, and I don't understand why I thought that was a good idea. But now I have 2 teams of 6, which works so much better plot-wise, dynamics-wise. It's just such a better decision. In general, I think it's a quality over quantity thing. A lot of the characters in the first version of Waves were bland. They didn't have any real characteristics. And that's something that I really tackled, I think, in the rewrite. I kind of got rid of most of the characters that didn't have anything to them. And then I redesigned a couple and made completely new characters for the rest of the cast. For example, one of the characters was named Candle, and she looked so much like Amelia from HFJ1, at least what I planned to make her look like. It was really scary. But I had this character that was kind of like this basic white girl, and she loved horror. She loved scary movies. She loved anything having to do with horror. That was Candle's personality. And I took that and I decided, why not make her an actual pumpkin, like a jack-o'-lantern? That would be so cute. And so I did, and now I kind of flipped it around where it's more so horror-loving pumpkin that is also sometimes a really basic white girl when it comes to stuff like pumpkin spice lattes. And I think that's a lot more fun. There were a couple of others that I took bits and pieces from or combined together to make a different character. But Candle is really the notable one that turned into pumpkin. And I think as a whole, Crystal Ball was the only character to truly stay the same. I think at least every other character that was pre-existing had some alterations, but CB is just such a character that is kind of integral to Waves, so it wouldn't feel right to change their character all too much. Opal, Helium, Locket, and Fry were all completely new. Everyone else had already had an alternate version. I think Pumpkin, again, was the most drastically changed. But yeah, I redid the cast, and everything was just coming together so much more nicely. And with there being less characters, I was also able to dive into those relationships that they are developing as soon as they get to know each other in Google Sheets. I love myself a spreadsheet. I had made a relationship chart, color-coded and everything. So basically I would put like the list on the top and on the side, and then I would go from the side and just list out every single thought that that character had about each other contestant, and I would color code it. Green is positive, red is negative, yellow is neutral or mixed feelings, and it was so fun to do, and I'm excited to update it as the episodes continue. And that also really helped me in the writing process because, again, something I can look at and I can be like, oh yeah, this is what this character thinks about this character. That makes their responses to each other so much easier to write for myself. And honestly, there's probably easier ways to do this than what I did. I know you could probably make like an actual visual chart, like the circle of characters and then the lines. That doesn't work for my brain. So that's why I did it on Google Docs in the first place. But I think having a relationship chart that you're able to reference is super helpful. And doing all of this work, rewriting the synopsis, making this relationship chart, making the lineup, all of this really helped me not only get a better understanding of Waves, but it also really helped me writing the first episode script. And honestly, I could go into so much depth in how I wrote the script. If you guys are curious about that, leave a comment below and I'd be happy to go more in depth. But since this is just kind of an overview, I don't want to get too into it. But those are the main portions of how I started to write Waves. So now I'll go on to what I focused on next, which is the voice acting stuff. Fun fact, on top of my aphantasia, I also don't have an inner monologue. My brain is fucking empty. So when I was looking for inspiration for these voices, it was really hard because I knew what I kind of wanted them to sound like, but I wasn't able to find something that matched. And even then, there were some characters that I even now still don't know what I exactly want them to sound like. So I kind of actually played into that. Instead of trying to find their voices outside, I actually kind of just did my own attempts at what I think they sound like. Microphone is the exception because I still do not know what he sounds like in my head. For every other character, I at least had kind of an idea, and with those ideas, I recorded all of the voice reels. Actually, I'm very glad that I found Audacity after doing those reels, because the last time I recorded something, I did it on Anchor, which is a podcasting app, and extracting that audio was such a pain, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. So I put it in my video editor, which is VSDC. It's a free video editor. If you are looking for something and you're on Windows, I would recommend it. And so I put that together, I exported the video, I made the thumbnail, and I uploaded it to YouTube. And to go with that video, I also made the audition document. It had all of the characters in the video order, plus microphone at the beginning. And it just had the lines that I used to record their voice. A lot of them were pulled from the first episode draft, and some I had to write a couple of longer lines just because I didn't give them too many long lines in the first episode. And once I had the audition reel video uploaded, I put links that had timestamps to the corresponding character in the video right above their audition line, so people could click on it and see that character and hear what I was thinking for that character. And I tried really hard to make everything kind of linked together. So if someone on YouTube saw that video, they could go to the description and they would see the Discord link, or if they had joined the Discord link first from any of my social media bios, they would be able to see the audition document, and if they saw the audition document, they would be able to see the video. It's a circle of life. Doing all of that was generally very easy. It was mostly just time consuming. I mostly just had to learn how to use VSDC, and I had to learn how to upload stuff to YouTube, and both of those things I had to learn how to do already to make the show. So it was just kind of like a triple whammy. So that is all of the previous voice acting stuff, and I'll be getting back to some VA stuff at the end of this video. So stick around for that, and also thank you for watching this far. Oh my god, I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. But now I'll go into probably my most embarrassing part of this whole journey, which is the assets, quote unquote. So basically, I wasn't even planning on having this show be animated. I was planning on having something like Paper Puppets Take Two in the early season. And so I wasn't really planning on actually doing animation. But the problem with this is, even though I was planning on having it be more of an animatic style, I still didn't actually know if I was able to put these assets into my video editing software. I hadn't even considered, maybe I won't be able to do that. And thank you to my friend Neve for stopping me in my tracks. I had done, I think, 5 asset sheets at that point, maybe 6. So it was better to be cut off early. So I basically had worked for like 5 days straight for nothing because I didn't plan ahead. That friend, Neve, is also the person that convinced me to actually go forward with Waves and actually animate it, because she threatened my life if I did it in the Paper Puppets Take Two style. So, not going to do that anymore. In all seriousness, though, thank you, Neve, for convincing me to go forth with animation instead of an animatic style. However, unfortunately, all of these asset sheets are unusable. So just general advice, know what programs you're going to be using ahead of time before you put days of work into something you might not be able to use. But it's alright, because now I know what I'm using. I'm using OpenTunes, which is an open source free animation program. That's shockingly really useful. And honestly, figuring out animation itself was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The last time I animated was when I was about 9 years old, and that was on scratch.edu. So, like, it wasn't great. It wasn't even on animating software that I last animated. But in all seriousness, learning how to animate was shockingly not that bad. I'm not gonna say I'm a fantastic animator already, but I expected this first test animation to come out a lot worse. I mean, look at it. It looks so good. I really hope I put it on screen or else I'll just sound like a fucking idiot here. But in all seriousness, there were some bumps in learning OpenTunes. As to be expected, it's a new program, it's a new skill, but it generally went pretty smooth sailing. And if you want to learn how to animate, I highly recommend using OpenTools. In fact, I'll link the tutorial that I found myself that is just generally about how to make animation, but it's in OpenTunes, and it's so much easier to learn when it's in the same program that you're using. So I will have that in the description. Other than the program itself being a little bit hard to use at times and having to look up very specific issues, there weren't that many problems with the animation process itself. I did this animation in Vector, which is, I think, how I'm going to be doing the entire show. I'm probably going to be doing Vector because I think that would be the easiest for me. With all the research I did, it took probably 3 days in total to actually make this animation. And honestly, that's pretty good considering the last time that I animated was when I was 9 years old. That was almost a decade ago. So I'm pretty happy with how that's going along. Speaking of how that's going along, I'm working on another test animation, this time with Dicey. Hopefully that will go just as smoothly, if not more so. I'll be doing this video, I'll be editing it, thumbnailing it, and teaching myself more about the video editing program that I'm using. I'll be updating the episode script soon, hopefully. And in the future, I would like to do one last test animation, but more so focusing on the assets than the actual animation aspects. The first 2 animation aspects was just me trying to understand the concepts of animation. Now I want to focus more so on what will be useful for my show. So hopefully that all goes really smoothly. And the last thing that I know that I have planned, I want to cast the voice actors on June 15th. I know that seems crazy far away right now. It's a little bit over a month from when I'm recording this, but May is completely booked for me, honestly. The evenings, almost every day, I'm doing something. And then early June, I'm still doing stuff. And I'm finally done doing stuff on the 5th of June. So that'll give me a couple of days to recuperate, to get stuff ready, and hopefully I'll be doing all of the test animations. Those will be done by the time I'm casting, and I'll be working on the official assets for the show. Hopefully, I'll be finalizing those assets while the voice actors are recording their lines for the first episode, so I can kind of multitask while I'm waiting for them. I can get stuff that I need done. Believe it or not, someone's already asked me, how do you make an object show? And the real answer is, I don't know. I haven't made one yet, technically. It's still technically just concepts. And while I can't give complete insight, I think I can give some advice. The biggest piece is you are going to have to research. That is just true for anyone out there. Whether it be researching how to animate, whether it be researching how to write a script, whether it be researching what kind of objects you're going to put in your show. There will be some aspect of research that you will need to do, and you need to be willing to do it. I'm very lucky that I have the experiences I do because a lot of them lend to what I'm doing now. For example, I know a lot about the casting process because I've been casted in so many musicals to the point that I know what it's like on both sides. I know what it's like to voice act because I've been in fan dubs before, and I have a lot of people in the voice acting industry that I know. I know what the writing process is like because I've written a one-act play before, and it's not entirely the same, but it's not all that different. I know how to direct because I've directed my one-act play. There's a lot of experience that I have that has accumulated over the years that just happened to lend itself into making waves that not everyone will have. And that's where the research comes in. Of course, there are things that I have to research and have researched that I just need to know. For example, I know I'm going to have to learn how to edit audio. I need to learn how to select royalty-free music to put in there, or how to make music if I want to make my own soundtrack. And that's a lot. It's a lot. It's so much to learn. But I think it's worth it. My second biggest piece of advice is to start small. And just because it's small does not mean it's not vital. If designing an entire cast is a little bit daunting for you at the moment, start with 1 or 2 characters. Or if writing an entire episode seems like too much for your plate right now, start with a short skit. Just because these things may not be in the first episode does not mean that they are not vital. For example, the test animations that I've been doing, they will not show up in the show, but they are building my skills in order to be able to make it. If you are just starting to learn these skills, do something small. If something seems overwhelming, break it down for yourself. There's no shame in that. And the third piece of advice that I have actually comes from Webs for Evs, which is a big inspiration of getting me to even start conceptualizing waves again. And his advice is no one can walk you through it. You just have to do it yourself. That seems a bit hypocritical of me to say after talking for like 30 minutes about how I'm making an object show. But I think there's a difference between documenting my process for people to learn from than a tutorial. Not that there's anything wrong with a tutorial. It's just different. And I really hope that this documentation can help people kind of learn how they want to go about making an object show. Because honestly, I'm not really telling you guys how to make one. I'm kind of just saying the steps I personally took. And if you think that that will work for you, then please, by all means, go out and do it. And if you think you want to do stuff differently, then by all means, go do your stuff differently. Either way, I just want to see more people make things. I love watching object shows, and I love hearing about people making object shows. It gets me excited, and I love that this community is full of people that love to make things, and this community is so wonderful to be in while I'm making waves, and I really hope that other creators feel the same way. I think we all deserve to have our projects seen, and we all deserve to have that same connection with the community. And it really excites me that the community is generally so accepting to new creators. It's really nice to see. Because I know I've been that kid that's just kind of off in his own world, doing his own nerdy little thing. And the fact that there's a community where we can all do our nerdy little things and we all get excited about it, this is kind of the haven that I wish I had as a kid. And I'm really excited to start contributing to it. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to continue Waves. But until then, the Waves Discord will be in the description, and you can find me on any platform at www.mikeyxyz. Until next time!